Good morning, Professor Dande, Dean Agarwal, and the great extended family of IIT Kanpur. Thank you for this opportunity to express, on behalf of MIT, our enthusiasm and our respect for the striking success of IIT Kanpur in its first 50 years, and our highest expectations for its future. Many of you know the IIT Kanpur story not as history, but as your own lived experience, so I will not presume to summarize it. But I would like to offer our perspective from Cambridge on the significance of what IIT Kanpur has achieved. At MIT, we like experiments, and the bolder the better, especially when they work. And of the countless experiments MIT has been part of, our work with IIT Kanpur stands among the most far-reaching and significant. From the start, the experiment that began as the Kanpur Indo-American program was launched as a true partnership, but it was no routine collaboration. As the legendary Professor Norman Dahl put it, he and his colleagues from India and the United States saw themselves as fellow revolutionaries. Their bold experiment proved many propositions, starting with the fact that 9 institutions working together with extraordinary goodwill and collegiality could achieve what no single school could achieve alone. Together, faculty leaders from MIT, UC Berkeley, Caltech, Carnegie Mellon, Case Western, University of Michigan, Ohio State, Princeton, and Purdue formed a powerful consortium. The Kanpur experiment also ratified our faith in the educational model that had evolved at MIT over decades. Students would have access to cutting-edge textbooks as opposed to relying solely on their own lecture notes. They would spend less time in lectures, allowing more time for hands-on lab work, and of course, for the indispensable testing ground of the problem set. Rather than drilling to prepare for annual tests imposed by outside examiners, they would be tested regularly by their own instructors on a dynamic, new, science-based, research-inspired curriculum that the professors were creating even as it was being taught. Because solving real-world science and engineering problems often demand understanding of complex cultural and sociological issues, students would delve extensively into the humanities and social sciences as well. And perhaps most important, faculty and students would actively seek creative, interdisciplinary solutions to society's real and pressing problems. And before this collaborative experiment was even 10 years old, Kanpur's faculty, staff, and students had already met the founders' highest hopes. As animated, adapted, and driven by India's most creative technical thinkers, the IIT Kanpur approach to education soon took root at India's other IITs, and Kanpur swiftly became a potent source of India's scientific and engineering leadership, filling top posts at every other IIT and across Indian society. Your influence has reached well beyond India, as your graduates have also assumed top posts in the academy and in industry around the world. At MIT alone, we enjoy the brilliance of faculty members like Professor Arvind, a leader in MIT's Computer Science and Artificial Intelligence Lab, Professor Arup Chakraborty of Chemical Engineering, Chemistry, and Biological Engineering, currently working on an AIDS vaccine, and Professor Mrigan Kasur, who not only directs our Brain and Cognitive Sciences Department, but is driving research that could transform the treatment of autism. 50 years ago, IIT Kanpur arose from the same force that gave rise to MIT, the recognition that the education of highly capable scientists and engineers can powerfully accelerate a country's industrialization. With that ambition, our institutions came together as fellow revolutionaries in a bold educational experiment. Today, at a very different time in the history of our two nations, we remain closely linked by a bond of common values and united in pursuing revolutionary answers to humanity's greatest shared problems. The late John Kenneth Galbraith said that as ambassador to India, his proudest achievement was helping to found IIT Kanpur, and we feel the same way. We share your joy in the celebration of your Golden Jubilee, and we share your aspirations for further success in your next 50 years.